What is up, NFL fans, and welcome in to the Legit Football NFL podcast. I am the usual partner in crime, Kevin Phillip Fox, usually joined by Brian McFadden, who's kicking us off. You know, we're gonna have a little discussion about that in just a little bit, but for now, I want to bring in my partner in prime from down under, the homie Adrian Revito. Adrian, how are you today, friend?
I am fantastic. It's nice, partner in prime. I'm getting up. I don't know if you
Dude, that's
noticed.
an upgrade.
That's what I'm saying. I added last week. I added the co-host Legit Football to my title, and I thought
Let's
it's nice.
go.
Feels good. Feels good to
Dude,
be
doesn't it's a good feeling, right, dude? It's another. That's like another level of like certified. You know, you're moving up. Shout out to Jonathan. Our boy Jonathan is here. What's up, boys? How is everyone? I'm great. We talked about this in the pre-show. I'm sick, but not in the bad way, in the good way. Adrian is sick in the other way.
In the bad way, yeah. And not in the good way. What's going on? It's nice to see. Speaking of good feelings, it's nice to see people in chat already. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, look at this. We got Jonathan and Armand. We got Adrian. I think he did that on purpose. He was doing a Rocky reference there.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Never heard it before, for sure.
Let's kick this one off really quick. We'll do a little quick question to start it off. Jonathan, random as H question. We don't say that word on this show. How popular? We might say it sometimes, but I don't know. How popular is American football in Australia, Adrian?
You know what? It's got a small fan base. Like, as in, it's getting there. There was even talks of game in Sydney, but I think the time difference in flights for teams would be pretty big, and I think that no one would want to do it.
That's super dope, man. I mean, I love the fact that they're thinking about doing a game in Sydney, but just I know that the kangaroo situation is just really dangerous over there. So
there's dangers around every corner. It's not just the kangaroos.
The players would like be like running, and then like a shrimp on the bobby would just pop up in the field, like right. That happens in Australia, right?
All the time. It's a common threat. No, but it's getting there, and I gotta say, I mean, every year I take the Super Bowl off, and me and the guys head to this couple bars in the area, and it's pretty big. It's certainly getting there. It's made like leaps and bounds over the last, let's say, 5 years.
Dude, well, that's what I'm talking about, man. And with you now, with your influence growing, just wait. It's gonna be huge.
That's what I'm going for, to be honest with you.
You're gonna be the one who ushers in the new era of Australian fandom in the NFL. Really quick before we get into the legit headlines, Anthony, cue the music. Anthony, cue the music.
Is this the music that I think we're queuing?
Oh
yeah.
It actually wasn't the music I was talking about, but I'm not mad about it. I will absolutely listen to this music. Do we have sad music, Anthony? I was hoping for sad music. This is too happy for what I'm going for.
I don't even know what's going here. This is.
I don't think we have sad music. I'm gonna move on with my announcement. I have an announcement to make. It's okay, Anthony. No worries, buddy. This is just confusing music. So I have an announcement to make, and it's not one that I make with any sort of a smile on my face or any sort of a happy announcement. But moving forward, the Legit Football NFL podcast will be primarily hosted by myself and co-hosted by Adrian Revito on Fridays and Jimmy Ray on Mondays. Brian McFadden he's just doing too much right now. He's moving up in the world. We're really happy for Brian McFadden and everything he's accomplishing, especially within the company. So it's a good situation. Like, you know, you want to be in the position where you're moving up as a company. So congratulations to Brian on everything he has going on. And it has forced him to step down temporarily as a co-host for the show. And like I said, I say that with a heavy heart. It's not a goodbye. It's a see you later. We're going to have Brian back in no time, and hopefully literally in no time, because every show we do without him, we're going to feel a Brian McFadden shaped hole in our hearts until he comes back. So this is like if McDonald's got rid of the Big Mac. I mean, it's just devastating.
And fitting name as well. Can I just say to anyone watching, like, allow me to expose the bathrobe for a second. I didn't know this was coming. This is a live reaction you're seeing here.
I was keeping it from him because I didn't want to ruin his mood. I wanted him to be as happy as he could be coming in.
Until 4 minutes into the show. Point.
No, you know what? And like I said, in Armand, this is exactly the attitude to look at it with. We have this right here. I like that mindset. But yeah, Adrian, it's a bummer, man. No doubt. Definitely a bummer. He's a special host. He's a special guy. And like I said, we're still going to talk to him a lot, and I'm sure he'll send references. He wants to actually do this is a fun development. He wants to actually, because of how busy his schedule is, he doesn't know if he can do the 2 shows a week, the long shows, but he wants to maybe start doing a 30-minute show,
Okay.
like once a week. And, you know, he said he would have us on whenever, and we could talk through stuff. But he says he has just an insatiable thirst for talking football. So he needs to still have some sort of a football talking outlet. So in due time, we'll get a McFadden weekly 30-minute show, and hopefully in due time we'll have him back on this one, especially season. That's my dream, is that he's back by then, because it would be a lot to do it without, you know, because I'm the original partner in Prime. Adrian, you are the interim partner in Prime.
Yeah, I mean, but it feels almost like ceremonial, because really I own that the real partner in Prime is I'm no Big Mac. That dude is a genius. Like
he is the absolute GOAT. He is the absolute GOAT. So anyways, guys, I'm looking at maybe kicking off the legit headlines. How do we feel about that? Thank you so much, Anthony. And let's bring up our first one, Mr. Wayner, which is going to be Ken Walker, running back for the Seattle Seahawks, and Zach Charbonnet are set to compete for the top running back role. Now, to me, I don't know about you, Adrian, but my eyes could not have rolled back in my head far enough when the Seahawks drafted both JSN and Zach Charbonnet, because mamma mia, does that handicap fantasy upside for both players.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And this doesn't surprise me that they're going to be splitting reps. And Zach Charbonnet, like, I mean, was he third round? I'm pretty sure. Am I thinking right?
I believe so.
And yeah, and like he really, I mean, it's only because of his position. If he's an elusive dude, he's, you know, like he's got all the traits that you want. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's RB1 before the season's over.
Yeah, but man, how hard is that? Because like RB1s are hard to come by in fantasy football, anyways. And
Ken Walker, RB1 Seahawks RB1. I make a fantasy.
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I agree. But Ken Walker was going to be one, I think. I think Ken Walker had the chance to be one, and this completely like handcuffs his value. I mean, Charbonnet goes from being, you know, possibly could have taken his own backfield to, you know, being a second fiddle to start his NFL career. And that's not ideal for a stud like him. And it's not ideal for Walker to have a second fiddle who's so strong that could eventually usurp him. It's extremely disappointing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
For fantasy.
Yeah.
Literally,
no, you're right.
As a Seattle Seahawks fan, like if I was a Seahawks fan, I'd be stoked.
Yeah. That's a 1-2 punch for a Seahawks fan.
Yes.
So, yeah. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, you're good.
No. Oh,
yes, Anthony. Here we go. We got.
I have some thoughts because when I first saw this headline as well, I'm like, why? Like, what's going on here? I texted my brother. I'm like, what is happening? Like, it's just really a conversation because we all saw Ken Walker have a very good year, but what he didn't do well was catch passes. And in that Seattle offense, they want a running back that can be a pass catcher. So he did rank 10th to last in yards per catch among running backs, 6.1. And Charbonnet, am I saying that right? Charbonnet? Yeah. He caught 37 passes at UCLA for 14 touchdowns. That's 221 receiving yards as a running back. So I think they saw that and said, we want a battle here. We want some drama. Maybe Ken Walker takes the running snaps and Charbonnet takes the pass catching running back duties. I don't know. Maybe they're doing like a 2 running back set. Who knows? I think that there's a lot going on here that we don't know about, and I think that they're onto something. It's confusing to the eye at first, but when you look at the statistics, it kind of makes sense.
That's pretty interesting. I like that insight, Anthony. Yeah, I mean, if it's one of those situations, if it's a Thunder and Lightning situation, and Walker's the Thunder and Charbonnet's the Lightning, hard to be mad at that. But like I said, it does cap both their upsides from a fantasy football perspective, which is unfortunately the lens that has just tainted my football fandom forever. So thank you, Anthony. Absolutely fantastic pop in as always. Adrian, final thoughts on this headline?
No, I was just going to say it's great insight from the GOAT producer, and it's very Pete Carroll to just like to see past just your primary role and look for other uses for players. And you know, it's not news for a running back that catches passes, but in a room that you already had Ken Walker, he went for 1,200 scrimmage yards to get Zach Charbonnet in there and see that, like, okay, we need a pass catcher. It's just classic Pete Carroll. He just maximizes, doesn't he?
And they literally also took JSN when they have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They're kind of sort of like, I love what they're doing for a team standpoint, but they're kind of sort of the worst in fantasy. And you just know Pete Carroll's going to come and do a press conference and say, thank you, Anthony. He's going to come out and do a press conference and say he's going to be chewing gum really hard. And he's going to be like, oh, they're both our starters. We have 2 starters. And as far as wide receivers go, we have 3 starting wide receivers. And yeah, Geno Smith, we love him. But, he's just going to do the classic Pete Carroll coach talk. But, it worked for them last year. They took a step forward. Hopefully they take another step forward.
He's open.
Right. And Mr. Jonathan, thank you for the love here. We got a little shout out from Mr. Jonathan. That's the plan, man. That's what we're doing. We're making moves, man. Making moves. Anthony, next legit headline, drop it in. The Lions are discussing a contract extension for quarterback Jared Goff. Now, I have a suspicion that our producer might want to weigh in on this as well. I will lead us off by saying that, given the draft pick of Hendon Hooker, I'd be interested to see the numbers, and I'd be interested to see what kind of outs they bake themselves into the contract, because I think based on what we saw from Goff last year, he has established himself as at least a top 12. If he's in the Cousins tier, he's at least the top of the Cousins tier. Like, I don't think he's elite, but I don't think he's not very good. I think you have to consider Jared Goff to be at least a very good quarterback right now based on what he's proven, especially in that offense, especially with those weapons. So I would be interested to see the numbers, and I'd be interested to see whether or not they give themselves little safety outs, in the contract. Adrian, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, and if you're reading, and you should, but if you're reading the Legit Football headlines, Legit Football newsletter, you're gonna see that he passed Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Tua. Like, Goff's sneaky good, but I think he's not sneaky elite, but he's sneaky good. It's easy to forget he took him to a Super Bowl. It gets forgotten because that Super Bowl was terrible.
It was Patriots.
Yeah, and
Patriots. Awful.
I'm trying to remember the final score. It was
10-3.
That's the one. Yeah, disgusting. But look, I like Goff. I think, and I'm excited to hear Ant's thoughts. I don't know about the Hendon. I think Hendon Hooker. Yeah, I think they only took him because they got him like in
third round.
68th or 70th pick, something like that. Like I think they took him as an insurance policy, and every team should have a good insurance policy.
I agree.
But I think they're bought in on Goff. I don't think they were at the start of last year, but after the way he played, I mean, 65% of his passes, 4,400 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Like, that's enough when you've got the weapons around you. They had, and they should have been better. They were probably better than their record. If you remember at the start, they lost games they definitely should not.
Yeah, and they did all year. I mean, all early part of the season, and then I'm thinking back to like the Buffalo game. They had completely righted the ship by then, and they had Buffalo on the ropes. I remember Anthony and I were texting. I was not being super kind to Anthony via text. But I love Hendon Hooker, and I think the ACL is a big factor. He's recovering from a torn ACL, and his age is a huge factor. So, nobody gave him the keys in the first 31 picks. Nobody gave him the keys in the second round. So I don't think, developing behind Goff and maybe potentially becoming a higher end backup and then maybe having a shot to start on your second contract is necessarily a bad career trajectory for Hendon Hooker. It's maybe not what he envisioned. It's maybe not what, everybody wants to have a shot, and, Hooker might not have that right off the bat, but I think that might be okay.
Yeah.
And here we go, baby. Intro music.
Give it to us.
Hey, so I liked your thoughts on Hendon Hooker, and I agree. I think he's either going to be a high-end backup or he's going to be an insurance policy. He's only 2 years younger than Jared Goff is. And so we're not getting a young franchise guy who can start 3 years.
No spring chicken, as they say.
And right, exactly. And so Jared Goff, obviously everybody on this show knows that I'm a huge Goff fan because I watched him lead an offense that won 5 games in a row after going 2-6, chasing points that the defense couldn't stop. That's why I was so upset that they didn't take defense in the first round, except Jack Campbell, of course. But
love Jack Campbell.
With the contract extension, it's it's sort of like it's a given at this point because of what Jared Goff has been able to do in the Dan Campbell rebuild and just turning the team around. And even Ben Johnson stayed as offensive coordinator. So that chemistry, that connection is there. And his contract runs to 2024 right now. He has no guaranteed money after this season. So that's why there's been that conversation. But now the extension, that scary word that quarterbacks just love. And so he's going to be looking for a deal around probably Daniel Jones money. And so that's so, I mean,
that's
9-8. He threw for 29 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Like Adrian said, he outdid Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers behind or underneath everyone's radar. Nobody saw it happening, but it was happening. But the losses overshadowed it because there was this defense that just couldn't stop the other team from scoring. So the offense is no issue in Detroit.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is the leader of that offense. He's like the Superman of the Justice League, the Tony Stark of the Avengers. He's leading the whole team.
Yeah, I think they don't really benefit much, in my humble opinion, from extending Goff right after his best season ever. I understand that you might be trying to get out ahead of a price tag, but in my opinion, like maybe let him have 2 years like that back to back before you mortgage your future for him, before you commit to him over your developing rookie or any other quarterback that you might pay. I mean, Daniel Jones money is no joke.
That's why I don't think there's going to be an extension until after this season to see what he does. If he wins 10 games, extend the quarterback. If he wins a playoff game, we're extending him.
Yes, exactly.
If we go under 500, I think it's time to move on. And I think that
I agree.
This is sort of that year where it's like, I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to get go get your money. Go prove yourself and get your money. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better.
It's easy to get excited, and look to the defense as an excuse. And I mean, at the start of the 22 season, the defense was just desolate. They just never met a game they couldn't lose.
Liability.
And yeah, and so it's easy to kind of get excited and want Goff. But I have a question for you both. If you could right now, today, for your teams, obviously you don't have Josh Allen, sign Daniel Jones or Jared Goff for the same money, who do you take?
Oh, Jared Goff, absolutely.
Same.
Oh yeah,
that's really tough for me.
I mean,
I'd take Goff.
It's definitely, yeah.
That's tough for me. I like the athletic upside of Daniel Jones.
I get it, yeah, but Goff got a team to a Super Bowl. You can't do that without. To me, Daniel Jones isn't special, whereas Goff, he might not be special right now, but he's been special, and he's getting there again. So,
yeah, it's tough. We got Jonathan in the chat. I feel bad for Goff. I think he's a pretty good QB, but he just gets ragged on by the media. That's fair, and I was respectfully. Admittedly doing the ragging prior to this past season, and I was in Anthony's DMs all the time, yo man, that's your guy, I know you love him, but he's not the guy, and I was trying to tell him, and Anthony, and I'm gonna give Anthony a feather in his cap on this one. Anthony saw something I didn't, and now I see it. I see who Goff is, and I see what he can be. I still am I'm gonna go for the home run. I'm gonna go for the quarterback that I think you can win a Super Bowl because of instead of with. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of why I would take Daniel Jones over Goff, not because Daniel Jones has shown he's that by any stretch, but if one of them has athletic upside, if one of them has traits over the other, I like Jones' traits better than Goff's. But
I think Goff is still headed to his peak. I still think he hasn't hit his prime
he's young
yet. That could be this year, that could be next year, but I know he's headed there. And with the target, with the receivers that he's getting, with the new tight end, with the new running backs, definitely. I think that there's an arsenal that he can work with now. So
absolutely.
And one final thought from me is that Goff said he loves playing for Dan Campbell. He loves playing in Detroit. He said he wants to stay there. So you don't really have the I hear about letting him play out one more year. It makes sense because I don't think he's going anywhere. You might add to his price tag, but if you're already looking at Daniel Jones' money, how much are you really adding?
Right.
You know what I mean? He's coming back.
Plus, also at that point, you already have your quarterback puzzle piece figured out, so you won't mind paying that extra, $7 to $10 million a year to take him from Daniel Jones tier to what? Oh my God! Imagine paying Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts money. That doesn't sit well in my stomach. No offense, but if he plays his way into it, then he is that level of quarterback, and then you won't mind paying that price tag.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Go Lions.
Thank you, Anthony. Freaking killing it, man. Freaking killing it. I think it might be time for our next legit headline. I don't know. What do you think, Adrian?
Let's go. Let's get it.
Now, this is a fun one because I actually talked to Mr. Armand in the pre-show on TikTok about this very thing. Armand brought up, he brought up, what are my thoughts on this? The Falcons are considering moving wide receiver or running back Cordarrelle Patterson back to wide receiver. Now, I don't know about you, but the Cordarrelle Patterson I grew up with was a wide receiver. And it was this sort of one, though. Hey, he was a gadget guy. He had the return game on lockdown. He was good at end arounds, sweeps, screens. Now, one of these days, it was maybe around his time in New England or late Vikings days, he started playing snaps at running back. And, it wasn't really until Atlanta that he stuck. And let me tell you, when he stuck, man. I was one of the beneficiaries of having him on fantasy. That breakout year that he had in Atlanta, 2021, I want to say. It cooled off a little bit last year, but this, to me, Adrian, and you can agree or disagree, but I think this starts and ends with Bijan Robinson.
Oh, yeah. And this is a bit of a sneak preview with you.
Okay.
Thank you,
right?
Reverend Kevin.
I don't know.
This is a bit of a sneak preview into my main topic fit, but yeah, I think you're 100% right. It's Bijan that's driving this. Yeah, they're so loaded on offense, the Falcons, and like no one does a running room like Arthur Smith. He was there for the 2,000-yard season of Derrick Henry. So I love that they've maximized him. I think you're right that the Falcons were the first team that really unlocked this dude to be a beast. And so I hope they can do the same for him as a wide receiver. He's so fast. But he's in it. The wide receiver room, what have they got? Drake London. They've got their Kyle Pitts, which I know is tight end. But so I think that he can still thrive, and I think he can still do well. But it's Bijan Robinson that's driving him there, not by choice. He wasn't going there if they didn't draft him.
Right, and that's kind of what I think, because we also know how great of a weapon second-year running back Tyler Algier is. And he's going to all but get cast aside, unfortunately. I mean, he might be the change of pace. He might be the thunder to Bijan's lightning, but Bijan is thunderous himself. Bijan will probably be both.
I was going to say, which one's the more powerful? Is thunder or lightning?
I think thunder is usually the thumper, usually the tough one, the between the tackles, and then the lightning is usually the quicker, quick cuts, one cut, yada yada. But I mean, Bijan is both. So, that's tough for Algier, and it's tough for Patterson, but not really, because in my humble opinion, at this age, Patterson's better served in a lesser role.
Yeah.
I wasn't too impressed with what I saw in 2022. I think he demonstrated some wear and tear.
Yeah, look, I'm not a massive Cordarrelle Patterson fan. As I took little quips as soon as you were talking about him. And that's why he's been moved place to place. He could never be the Falcons were the first team to really be okay, he could find a home here. And I think he can do it. I think he can do it as a wide receiver as well. So you're right. He's able at 32 years old. He's probably ready to start taking less snaps. And you keep him a running back. How long is his durability going to hold up? Not that you would opt for that with your current running back.
I think you made a great point. You have Kyle Pitts, who is versatile enough that he can play wide receiver. You have Drake London, who has size enough that he could line up almost anywhere on the field. You have Bijan Robinson, who can literally play the slot, but he's also a stud running back. I mean, the more that the Falcons can keep people guessing on offense, the more misdirection that they can create, the better it's going to be for their second year, who knows, quarterback Desmond Ridder. So it's a great arsenal of weapons. It's, like you said, Adrian, one of the better ones in the league, which is kind of wild to even say, because they were such a not good team last year. I mean, they were somehow in the thick of it due to their embarrassing, god-awful division, the NFC South. But the Falcons might make some noise. I don't know. What do you think? Do you foresee the Falcons entering playoff discussions next year?
I do. Because look, I was just looking at the depth chart. So behind Drake London, Matt Collins, Scotty Miller, if you can get Patterson in there as a wide receiver 2, one of those could be a fine 3. There's whispers of them looking at Tannehill, and I would love to see that.
That would be awesome.
I'm pretty out on Ridder. I mean, if he takes a jump this year, that'd be great. But
why? What did Ridder do to? I don't think he's done anything to earn being out on, right?
Well,
he wasn't spectacular last year, but he wasn't bad.
But I don't think he's earned anything to be in on. Maybe I'm being harsh, and I'll be upfront and say I didn't watch a lot of the South games. Like, as in, I was looking.
I can't blame you. They weren't. Yeah.
So, but look, I personally get a veteran in there, and then with that, the running back room with those, with Drake London just tearing it up, Kyle Pitts, like that's all you really need. I feel like if you can get Cordarrelle Patterson delivering as a wide receiver too, playoff contentions for sure.
Yeah. It would be interesting because I don't know if he's built to be a wide receiver too, like his longevity in his career and his sustainability, durability. He's proven to be more durable when he plays running back, which is so bizarre. It's such a reverse. Weird. But he was banged up earlier in his career a lot, and then he kind of settled into a more consistent stretch on Atlanta. But I mean, he hasn't really ever been the poster child for durability. But wide receiver too, if he can hold up. I mean, I like Matt Collins a great deal. I'm not crazy about Scotty Miller, to tell you the truth. He's a little too one-dimensional for me, and I just always envision Brady just throwing him bombs and him just launching his body at the ball. Scotty Miller, he was a fun one, man. I mean, I don't foresee him having much of a role, but I guess you could do worse at wide receiver 5.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
So, but this is Brian's crush team. So I would love to, we're going to have to see if we can get a proxy quote from Brian on his thoughts on the Falcons next year and his thoughts on Patterson at receiver. But without further ado, Anthony, do we have any more legit headlines? One more. Oh, he teed this one up for me. What a guy. What a guy. Bills' first-round pick, Dalton Kincaid, is likely to play potentially more wide receiver than he lines up at tight end. Now, this is something that I think, in my humble opinion, is kind of a no-brainer. With all due respect to, the position that he plays tight end, they had a pick 27 and they moved up to 25, I want to say, to grab him. And they parted with a 4th-round pick, Adrian. That means you spent a 1st and a 4th-round pick on a tight end when you have a tight end that you're paying $13 million a year in Dawson Knox, who a lot of people really like, myself included. So this is kind of like obvious, right?
Yeah, and so Dalton Kincaid was on some people's top tight end board. I personally thought I liked him as number 1. I know you guys asked me a little while ago who I wanted for the Packers, and it was Kincaid. He doesn't have that like inbuilt blocking ability that you want in a tight end. So you can use him in multiple ways. So why not? He's fast. He's a great catcher.
Shifty.
And that's what makes him. For his size, he can absolutely make heaps of people miss. And so put him in there, absolutely. And I like Dawson Knox, and I think he can absolutely play the role. And then you've got Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Kincaid on the. That's just, with Josh Allen, that's just unfair.
It's pretty unfair. I'll give that to you. And I'm glad that you're revisiting your pre-draft love on Kincaid, because that kind of reflects that you're not being, nice to me because I'm a Bills fan. You're not saying it's your birthday, so I'll be nice to you. It's not my birthday, but I'm saying because a metaphor, because I'm
a metaphoric birthday.
Bills fan. It's a metaphoric birthday, but you're actually saying like you love this tight end. He was your favorite tight end coming out, and a lot of people saw him going at 13 to the Packers. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know why he didn't, him or JSN. I thought they should have taken a weapon.
JSN should have gone, but let's not run on the parade. This is a Bill moment.
We're celebrating. We're celebrating.
It's been a sad episode so far with the Brian news. I don't need to talk about JSN.
And now we're rubbing in the JSN stuff. No, so listen, man. One of the things Brandon Beane said day after the draft was, we feel like we got Cole Beasley in a tight end's body. Now we've been waiting, right? Now we've been waiting to replace Cole Beasley since Cole Beasley left, and we've tried Isaiah McKenzie, we've tried Khalil Shakir, we've tried the corpse of Cole Beasley. None of those things really worked, man. So thank you. Look at that, man, Anthony, man. So none of that really worked. So why not go out and get a tight end who was gonna end up being one of the better slot players in this draft? Treat him like a big slot. Treat him like a flex piece. Buffalo's been trying at this for years. They've brought in players like Tyler Kroft, players like OJ Howard, players like Quentin Morris, undrafted free agent, who I really like, by the way. I think he's going to be a good tight end 3. But there was just never that guy who made that piece work, the flex tight end, the move tight end. Knox is going to play with his hand on the ground, and we're going to need Knox to be as much of a bully in the blocking schemes as he's always been. And at first I was a little like, when they picked Kincaid, I was like, ooh, this feels like not a great Dawson Knox thing. I don't think it has anything to do with Dawson Knox. I think this is potential to be a full utilization slot receiver type situation.
Yeah, and we talked about we talked about this a couple episodes ago, where generally speaking, you and I know Anthony, we trust our head officers. Brendan Beard knows what he's doing. So if he's going to go take a weapon in an offense that's already pretty loaded, he's got the right use for him. And the beauty of jumping into an offense like Buffalo's is Stephon Diggs is going to draw the double coverage no matter what. So it's kind of like when if you had gone to the Packers and he was an absolute beast, he was getting double coverage because Watson, like he's good, but he's not elite yet. So I think he's going to do some damage. He's going to come in and do damage right from. I mean, obviously with the first round, you want him starting from week 1, but I feel like he's going to deliver that.
Right.
And I trust I trust the scheme to maximize him.
Yeah, and I love the versatility of this front office to say, hey, we've been trying it for a long time, and there's these rules about where you take what and what positions have what kind of value. And I just feel like they kind of bucked it all and said, we see this trend in the league. We see this being a potentially, game-changing development for Josh Allen, for the offense. And they jumped into it. They did it rather fearlessly by parting ways with a 4th-round pick to leapfrog Dallas, which has, made the rounds of media coverage where everybody knows Dallas wanted Kincaid, and the war room was awkward.
So awkward.
It's so awesome.
That's great.
Skip Bayless had a fit on social media, so everybody's happy. And at first, I was really disappointed that we didn't draft Nolan Smith, because I was like, man, that's a premium position. That's a 1st-round pick. That's an area where we really suffered without Von Miller last year. And the more and more I sit with it, the better and better I feel about it, man.
Yeah, and you know what you said? You said it exactly right. There's certain rules. You don't do this. You don't drop to half end. Running backs, you don't take them early. But if everyone does that and everyone is not competing for a Super Bowl, you've got to do different things to be able to be in that top 3 to 5 that are going to be real Super Bowl contenders. The Bills are this team that I would say last year, but by the end of last year, it was like, man, the Bills Super Bowl window is going to be open for the next 20. But realistically, Josh Allen is not going to be around forever, so you've got to maximize him now. And it's so easy. It's kind of like when Rodgers won his first Super Bowl. It's like, oh, he's definitely going back. He's definitely
getting 5 more, right?
And here we are. So you do it while you've got the pieces moving. And there's players that can drop off. I really don't see it happening for Josh Allen, but you've got to maximize while you can.
Yeah. Well, dude, I love that take, Adrian. I think you have the exact correct perspective, and that's coming from a guy who's pretty tapped into the Bills media circles, and you have it. You would have fooled me for somebody on Bills Twitter with how eloquent your take is on the Bills.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I will say final thoughts on this, and I'm going to knock on wood here. You did mention Josh Allen isn't going to be playing forever. Obviously, in a perfect world, he would find the fountain of youth and he would be playing forever. But his play style is reckless. We all know that. Every offseason we hear, I need to learn how to slide. I need to learn how to not take so many hits. And then this man with a torn UCL is making tackles on interceptions, bro. He will never learn. And okay, that was just a little moment there. Maybe he'll learn. I'm hoping he learns. But he's Josh Allen. He's a football player first, quarterback second. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what the world's expecting of him. I just hope he can. Thank you, Anthony. He's a corn-fed Iowa boy. I just hope he stays tough through. He's not actually from Iowa. He's just corn-fed. He's from California. Anyways, that was fantastic.
Has he missed a game though? Has he? I mean, as far as injury was,
literally in his rookie year, he also had a torn UCL. Same injury he had against the Jets, and it was the same mechanism. The defenders holding your arm back while you're trying to throw a pass. And he missed 3 or 4 games, came back better than ever. That was actually when he first started taking the league by storm. He ran over Jalen Ramsey heading into the end zone as a rookie after Ramsey called him trash. That was when I bought his jersey. Man. Yep, I actually bought his jersey very, very shortly after that. Oh, look at that, Jonathan. Funny thing is, you guys are talking about this as I'm watching a rerun of Bills Titans game last year, and Alan Dove had he can't help himself. I love him so much, and I love those plays. But I'm also like, at some point, I love that he always gets those extra yards and he always gets those first downs. But at some point, man, it's not worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's time for the
that timing.
Ant. Let's go midseason form. Ladies and gentlemen, we have today the segment Fits Like a Glove. We are looking at our favorite player to team fits from this NFL draft. And we're going to start with the first round. We're going to go round by round. We can rapid fire it a little bit. You know, we don't have to get too crazy because we're doing all 7 rounds and we're each doing a player for each one. I definitely think it's cool if we, you know, have a thought, a statement, we comment on it with each other, and then we keep it moving because we got 14 names to get to. So are you ready, Mr. Ravito?
Oh, speaking of fitting like a glove, how about you and me on this topic? Let's get it happening.
Dude, doesn't get better, man. Doesn't get better. You and me on the LF pod. You know, no OJ Simpson here. The glove fits. I am going to be starting out with the first round, and my first favorite team to player draft day fit is none other than the son of head coach Dan Campbell. No, I'm just kidding. He's not his son. But I love the fit of Jack Campbell to the Lions. Jack Campbell is that kind of player. I believe he was a Butkus Award winner. I believe he's a kneecap biter. I don't know if that's, you know, actually true or not, but this dude, he fits the Lions culture. He's tough. He's instinctual. He's going to be a huge difference maker for them. And I didn't love where they picked him. I thought it was absolutely not a great value. I was going to say awful, but I don't think it was a great value, but I don't care because at the end of the day, the sunk cost fallacy is a real thing. They got him where they got him, and now he's on the team, and that's all that matters. And I think it's an amazing fit.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what? I'm with you on this. Like, I understand the whole pick him too early. Like, you can't pick the guy too early if he delivers what you want him to deliver.
Literally.
This guy's, he is a Dan Campbell, like, man.
Literally.
I mean, he's got the size to back it up, but he's instinctual. He's going to come in. Like, I actually was reading yesterday, I think that the Lions drafted the most players that'll see early starting time, you know, projected, right? And Campbell's one of them. He's going to be in right from the very beginning, and he's going to be awesome.
I love that. Jealous.
Yeah, totally.
Adrian, what's yours?
All right, so I actually put 2 here. Now I foreshadowed Bijan Robinson, so I'm going to go that way.
No,
I take it back. No, sorry, I'm going Jordan Addison. So I always like to talk to sexy positions in round 1, and I love Jordan Addison, and it pains me to talk about a Vikings team that already has Justin Jefferson, but they got rid of Thielen, so they needed to bring another pass catcher. And this dude is just like a slot weapon. You know, looking at, so you got Justin Jefferson at the moment. He stretches the field. Actually, he does it all really. 1,800 yards last year. And I talked about this when I talked about Stephon Diggs. He's always going to bring that double coverage. So Jordan Addison is going to be almost exclusively single coverage. He's going to be in the slot. You got KJ Osborne behind him. He fits this wide receiver core like a glove, hence the topic. And also they brought in Hawkinson as their tight end. Like the offense, I don't, you know, Kirk Cousins' numbers deliver, but we've talked about how streaky he is. But either way, whether you like it or not, look, their score last year, their record last year spoke for itself. And I think Jordan Addison's going to come in and he's going to kill it. Yeah,
I love that. That he was actually my backup. If you had picked mine, I was 100% ready to shout out Addison. I think he's going to help them exploit single coverage. I think you nailed that, Adrian. My man. Mid-season form.
It was him or Bijan.
Oh, and Bijan's a good pick. Yeah, we can always throw out our shout-outs at the end. Just give a little ditty on our shout-outs. But, Adrian, why don't you lead us off with your fit like a glove for round 2?
Alrighty. This one almost feels narrative driven, but I want to talk about it for a second, which is Joey Porter Jr. Look, the obvious fit of going where his dad was a great there. Yeah. I think, that part fits. I don't know did you guys see a video of his dad giving him a bit of a hype talk when he didn't get picked in round 1?
Oh, I actually haven't seen it. No, you should send it over.
It was awesome. So look, I guess what I kind of look at is he's already got this kind of chip on his shoulder of his dad was a great there. So I feel like he's already got something to prove. And then he was really, really upset about not getting taken in the first round. And
understandably.
And his dad gave this speech, which hyped me up. And he was just like, man, that's what they want to see. They want to see us black athletes upset. Don't show them that.
Oh, wow.
What you do now, you just play with that chip on your shoulder. You show them in the results.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and the thing is with that, like, it's, we talk about coaching having such an impact on players, but having like your dad, a great who knows it and he's been in that world, in that media and the hype and everything that comes with it. So, and all of this doesn't talk to this fit to the Steelers, so we'll get there. But I just love the guy. He's coming in. And where it fits in is that he wants to deliver like his dad.
Right.
They've currently got Akilla Witherspoon, Patrick Peterson as their starting corners. I think he comes in straight away, takes over Witherspoon. He had a pretty dismal PFF score last year. Patrick Peterson was pretty quality. And so he's going to come in. He's got everything going for him, and he's got the city behind him. I feel like it's a perfect fit.
He's got that physicality. He's got that dog mentality, bringing the Steelers back to the Steel Curtain days, like always. Bringing the Steelers back to that era of hard-nosed, tough defense. The Steelers I grew up with were Steelers, Ravens, getting into fights on primetime. That was always the Steelers I'll remember. And Joey Porter brings that, like you said, that chip on his shoulder. He'll fit in perfect there. That was mine, but I had backups for every single one in case you stole mine. No, this is why we do it.
Great minds.
I love doing two because then you always have one for the backup. And to be honest with you, man, I really was hoping I could do Porter because I don't want to sound like a homer. But my second pick, how can you not love O'Cyrus Torrence at 59?
What a steal.
This is the guard of the draft. Most people had him as their number one guard of the draft. I had him as mine. And he went to Buffalo. He went to the Bills. He went to protect Josh Allen, the freaking human wall, the people mover, O'Cyrus Torrence. Come on, man. It's not fair. And we offensive line was a weakness for the Bills last year. I told you and Brian on a show earlier. I will never get the images of Josh Allen running around with a torn UCL and bloody elbows and white sleeves. I'll never get that out of my head. It's torture. But O'Cyrus Torrence will go a lot further than, look, I like our guards just fine. Ryan Bates is fine. And we brought in Connor McGovern. So, if you can upgrade one of those pieces and then take the next one and make them the flex interior backup piece, because Mitch Morse is a good center. Deion Dawkins is a fine left tackle. Spencer Brown at right tackle, that's a conversation to be had. But if Ryan Bates, who does have 5 offensive line position versatility, if he ends up being the answer at right tackle and he could only play that because we have an extra guard, we broke the league and we're lucky.
I mean, look, the game's won in the trenches, right? They all say it.
Yep.
And when we were going, for those who are watching our reactions to round 2, we Torrence still on the board. Torrence still on the board. Like, what a steal at 59. Love the fit.
I'm so happy.
And you nailed it. I don't really have much else to say besides you nailed it.
Fits like a glove. That's all you got to say, right? So we got next round 3. I'll go first here. So I'm going to go with a team that I absolutely hate in the 3rd round, taking a player that I absolutely love. And unfortunately now for that player, as a homer, I have to hate them. But I won't, obviously, because I drafted them in Dynasty, so I will love them. I'm talking about A-Chain to the Miami Dolphins. I love the speed on A-Chain, and him going to Mike McDaniel's scheme. It's going to be unfair. I mean, if Raheem Mostert had one thing, he had speed, and he's still there. And they still have, my name is Jeff Wilson. They still have, I believe they still have Ahmed. I don't even know. There's so many studs in Miami's backfield. I one of my favorite podcasts have really great nicknames. Check out the Fantasy Footballer if you want some really funny nicknames. So I love their nicknames. But A-Chain I think he's gonna set the league on fire in Miami if they give him the reins. I mean, it might take some time. He might have some rookie acclimating, but I think he fits the McDaniels Shanahan rushing scheme like a glove.
Oh, absolutely. And, if you think about the Dolphins, what are they? They're speed. They're Tyreek Hill. They're Jalen Waddle. And you put A-Chain in. Is it a Chani or a chain? A-Chain. I'm
going to go with A-Chain because I just like how it sounds.
Yeah.
If he says no, we'll respect it. But in the meantime, it's A-Chain.
I lean to disagree. I feel like he should be legally changing it if that's the case.
Put a hyphen in it.
Yeah.
Just use the chain emoji instead of the word.
And how perfect big gold chain with an name in it.
Dude, that's fire. That's fire.
Like a glove. But yeah,
I love
that's Mike McDaniels. If there's nothing else, he uses speed. I mean, and he does a lot else, but if he did nothing else, he uses speed. And man, A-Chain is just like a speed weapon. So if you watch some of his game tape, and if he gets into the open field, just forget about it. It's like Tyreek Hill. You get him in, as soon as you get him into the open field, you can just forget it. He's gone to the end zone. So love the fit. Great call.
Yeah, your turn, man. Fits like a glove. Round 3.
All right, so my round 3 fits like a glove is going to be Nathaniel/Tank Dell.
Nice.
So I really liked Dell. Even coming into the draft, I thought that was great. He's smaller, so that's what everyone talked about. Everyone talked about his small frame, and that was kind of why some teams passed him up. But that's it. It just as like I was talking about. We're talking about A-Chain is.
Oh, we got our Anthony picks too. That's fun.
Oh, can we have a look this quickly before I continue my take? Gibbs to the Lions. There's a surprise. Gonzalez to the Patriots. Loved him. And Brissy the Browns. So good calls. I don't know about you, Kev. Before I want to tackle those, I'll finish my point and then we can maybe chat through those. But I just think like he's so fast. He can return the ball. And the other thing that I was reading today is that CJ Stroud, as soon as he got drafted, got on the phone and said, "Listen, get Tank Dell." So they threw together at the combine. They've got that chemistry that you want straight away. And that matters. Like people. And so here's my hot take, which is not that hot.
Oh, here we go.
When I think about a receiver, I think about your average to above average receivers, even your really good receivers. They're dependent on their circumstance. So they're dependent on the quarterback they're with, who's around them. They're dependent on chemistry and all that sort of thing. The truly elite receivers. So when I say elite, I'm talking Devonta Adams, Stefon Diggs, Jamar Chase. Like they could go in anywhere and they can deliver the goods.
Right
now. I don't think Tank Dell is going to be in that category, but I think he needs the pieces around him, and I think he's got that chemistry going with CJ Stroud. I think they've got a fantastic coach, so I love the fit, and I just feel like they're going to hit it off. Like he's already got his trust, but on both sides. Like, so
that's a great call. No disagreements whatsoever. That was definitely a consideration for mine. My backup was Trenton Simpson to the Ravens. I think he's got that mean streak. I'm super disappointed he fell because I wanted him to. He was like a couple picks away from the Bills, and we ended up picking Dorian Williams, who I'm okay with for now ish. We'll talk about that at some point. But I'm jealous of the Ravens for getting Trenton Simpson. Anthony Gibbs to the Lions, great fit. Definitely will play the Swift role really well and hopefully stay healthy. A lot of people are saying it could be Alvin Kamara-esque, so it'll be fun to watch. Gonzalez to the Patriots, great fit. He's a culture guy, Patriot way, first round pick, pedigree, stud. Brzee to the Saints, also great. I mean, their defensive line has historically been so great with like Cameron Jordan, so we'll see if Brzee can follow in those footsteps. We got round 4, and I believe, Mr. Ravito, it's your turn to kick us off.
Let's do it. All right, so my round 4. So I took backups for every round except 4 onwards. I did have the backups for 1, 2, and 3, but
no worries.
So my 4th round pick is Khalil Ringo, cornerback
100%.
Georgia,
Same.
that the Eagles took. Did you have the same one?
That was the same one, yeah. But I have backups, but that's a good one.
Excellent. So look, pardon me. So let's talk about the fit. So let's take apart that he's a Georgia Bulldog. He's got so many of his teammates there already. So as far as fitting in,
first round pedigree, a lot of people thought he was going to go in the first round.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
or
he's
second.
lucky. But that's the thing. And they came in at the 4th, and I believe they traded into the 4th using a 2024 pick to pick him up. Big dude, is an aggressive corner, but he's got some work to do. And who better to be learning behind? You've got Darius Slay and James Bradbury there. You've got 2 excellent corners to be learning, so you don't have that pressure of having to jump in from day one. He will jump in and get some snaps, but I feel like he's going to be a project that they'll work on, and by next year I think he's going to be a beast. And it just helps for comfort to have so many of your teammates around you. Sorry, I would sound like I was going to end then and then I'm going to rant again. And he's just got the traits. He's got the traits he's got the traits that deliver. And that's what you go for. So in round 1 and 2, you're going for your home run swings where it's like they've got the traits, they've got the instincts, they've got it all. But then
whole package.
as you go further on, you've got to take some that are a bit of a risk. And I think Khalil Ringo, he's meant for it.
Very worthwhile risk, and they say it takes the right soil for a certain flower to grow. I think if stud defensive back play is a soil, the Philly's a good soil for that to become a beautiful flower. My pick for the 4th round, Ringo was the obvious one to me, but I also like the Hainer to the Saints. pick because Derek Carr is older and Jake Haener is a quarterback a lot of people were high on in the draft process. So it'll be nice for him to have a chance to develop, sit behind Carr, maybe be the backup, learn behind him and Winston, maybe even be a practice squad player. Love to hear it. Jonathan, Eagles fan. Yes, shout out to your Eagles. They nailed it. They had a great draft. They were a contender in my Cards on the Table weekly video series for draft day winner. I ended up giving it to the Steelers based on just a couple extra shrewd moves that I liked from them. And last but not least, I love the DeJuan Jones pick to the Browns in the fourth round. He was also thought of to be a first round talent and didn't go till the fourth. That's crazy. They got him in the fourth. But Armand really liked him in the pre-draft. Armand was talking about Jones to the Jets in the first, so that's hell of a steal for Cleveland in the fourth. Slay might be getting up there in years, but he's still one of the best IMO, says Jonathan. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely still one of the best. I'm hoping Trey White will throw his name back in that conversation this year. He was recovering from the ACL tear last year. I don't think his skill will decline. I think Trey White is going to have a lot to say about who's the best corner in the NFL this year, but that's just me. Round 5. Go ahead. Sorry.
Jump on. I was just going to say, and that's why they brought Slay back. He still got it. Like I have to on every episode now, just like hard eyes for Howie Roseman.
You love Howie.
So much.
Where are you going to get your Howie tattoo, and what's it going to be? Just his face on your bicep?
I am insulted because that insinuates I don't already have one.
Thank you. You're right. Is it SFW to show it, or next time, or a different podcast?
No. Maybe on the Legit Football OnlyFans coming soon.
NSFW. There's your warning. Ladies and gentlemen, 5th round. I'm going to go first because Adrian stole mine last time. So I love Jacqueline Roy to the Vikings in the 5th round. He was hard to believe he was still available again in the 5th round. And that's what happens when you cover these things. And when you get talking about all these names and you do the headline videos every day, these names that you become familiar with them way ahead of the draft process. And you're like, oh, that guy went in the 5th. Oh, they were talking about him in the 1st. Oh, that guy went in the 7th. Oh, they were talking about him in the 2nd. It's crazy, dude. Like that's nobody knows anything, but clearly if somebody's into something, you're doing something right. And Jacqueline Roy to the Vikings, I think, is a great pick for them.
Yeah.
For you, Adrian.
For me, I was just going to say that is a good pick. And I know we plan to rapid fire a little bit on round 5, but I'll just say that is a good pick. You're right. They did talk about him earlier. I know there was word of him sort of didn't really unlock his potential, but I feel like he's got the potential. And good spot to fall. Speaking of people that should have gone earlier, Antonio Johnson, safety.
Nice.
He absolutely should have gone earlier. I mean, look, I had him as the second safety. I had the second safety behind Brian Branch. He had an 81.6 PFF score. So to me, the Jags, they needed. Sorry, I didn't even say it to the Jaguars. They needed a safety there. So he feels a need that they absolutely need someone that's going to play straight away. So he's going to start sooner rather than later. And to get a starter or a potential starter in the 5th round, like that's not typically what you get in the 5th round. You typically get projects that you're going to work on. And he can absolutely shut down in the slot as well because he's a slot cornerback, and then he moves up for the ball carrier. Here's a guy. So
sounds like he fits like a glove. You might say.
Yeah. Oh, you might say that. But I had him on my when we were going through drafts. On my board, I had him second. So I think he only fell to the 5th round because safety is not a premier position.
Yeah, and I will just throw out my backup was I really like wide receiver Justin Shorter to the Bills. I think his size and athleticism is going to be definitely. We don't forget we got Gabe Davis in the 4th. I want to say maybe 3rd. Couple of years back. If Shorter has a Gabe Davis like trajectory and we got him in the 5th, then it was a steal for sure. You want to kick us off with your 6th round fits like a glove?
I've got a did I just kick off? No, you kicked off. So I have a feeling, I just got this weird feeling that we're going to be on lockstep here and you might have the same. I have Keishon Boutte to the Boutte.
He's my backup.
He's my backup. I was going to say, from LSU. So
great pick.
Look, aside from just having a killer name, Boutte. I just like
great
that.
Name.
But so this is a Pats team that typically drafts their weapons in the later rounds. He's a fast guy. He's got, I think what he's got that translates to NFL is he's got this route running ability that he can really deliver. So for someone like Mac Jones, or he's going to be where you expect him to be, and that's what you need. You need consistency when you're still sort of finding your feet. I think Mac Jones and to talk to the fit for the team. I think Mac Jones got done a little dirty last year, and I feel like we're all sort of Bailey Zappi, or is he on the way up?
We'll
But
see.
he had the best rookie season of the quarterbacks taken. Then
He
I
did.
think objectively, he did. So
he did. Went to the
so I
playoffs as a
think,
rookie. That was impressive.
and like the effective coaching. Actually, this is just another. I like to go off on different branches.
Oh yeah, tangent away, my brother.
Yeah. When I first started following the NFL, and I started listening to podcasts and they talked about coaching so much, and I was just as an NFL fan rookie, you don't realize the impact that coaching would make on a player and their trajectory,
100%.
right? That's kind of really no better embodied than someone like Trevor Lawrence, who just fell off a cliff in his first year. It's like he did in the first year. You had Mac Jones that had why am I blanking now on the Lions head coach that failed? And he was their offensive coordinator.
Lions head Jim Caldwell? Lions head coach that failed?
Pat's offense was driven by Matt Patricia. I can't believe it.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
So they had him as their offensive coordinator, who was a defensive coordinator, great one, but then a failed head coach, and then into offense just because he had Pat's.
That was brutal. What were they thinking?
So, seriously. So to me, this team that he's brought into now, they're set up to at least give Mac Jones a proper chance. You bring Kayshon Boutte in as well, and I feel he's got the caliber to play in the NFL, and I feel like he's going to do that well.
Yeah, no, I love that pick. No, dude, no worries. That was definitely on my list. He was my runner up. Great player. Again, had really a lot of draft buzz early. Really cooled off around the combine. He really, really lost some draft stock at the combine, and seeing him go in the 6th round is shocking. But here we are, and I'm not mad at that pick for the Patriots at all. I went with Deuce to the Cowboys. I went with his father's a scout. I don't know if you've seen the story. It's very touching. There's a lot of crying in the video. You should definitely watch it. But they let this guy know, like, yeah, your son's going to be on the team. It's a beautiful thing. Google it. But he's a running back, and I think he, culture-wise, just fits. He has the right mentality, and they lost Zeke, and this guy could step into some. I believe his name is Deuce Vaughn. I believe he could step into some snaps potentially if they don't bring Zeke back. But even if they do, I just like that fit a lot.
Yeah, and they needed it, right? We talked about it, I think, on last week's show, where they're considering Ezekiel Elliott, which speaks to the fact of how much they need a running back. So I haven't seen the video. That sounds lovely, and I love a good story.
Oh yeah, you're a wholesome guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Australians must be extra wholesome.
Yeah, well, I'd say, what, my country and every animal in it is trying to kill people, so I try and balance out the universe.
There you go. Well, I'll always associate Steve Irwin with the Australian people, and he was the most wholesome guy ever. So
totally, yeah.
His face is on the dollar bill, right? We've established that on this show.
If it's not, it should be.
Good, I agree. Last but not least, I'm gonna go with my last two quick because I don't have much to say. I just like the positional need to the team. Ronnie Bell to the San Francisco 49ers. I think if he can fill a void in their wide receiver room, if he can create some opportunities, they have Ayuk, they have Samuel, but they don't have much past that. And then Max Duggan to the Chargers. I think we talked about having nice, fancy rookie contracts as your backups are never a bad situation because they're affordable and they are insurance policies if you're developing them. So I like that. I like that fit as well. Those are my two for the 7th. Do you have some good fits for the 7th?
Yeah, it's hard when you get to the 7th round, right? You're kind of like, you're really clutching it.
Respectfully, you're like, who are these guys?
Yeah, correct. So when I was sort of doing a bit of a look up, I put Andrew Voorhees, the guard to the Ravens.
Yes.
The reason I put him there, so look, obviously, I think they need him. He's got starting potential. So this is when I was looking through the 7th round, I was like, okay, who can actually start? Who's got potential?
Yeah.
Andrew Voorhees, he had a torn ACL, but otherwise
Tragic.
He had the potential to start. Yeah. So I think
it's a long-term pick.
Correct. Yeah. And I think it's a smart move for them to get him. He's got good techniques, right? Like, look, there's enough to say because obviously he would have gone sooner had that not happened at the combine. So I think he's going to go in. I think he's going to deliver. And
he'll come back stronger than ever, and he'll be ready to go his second season. He'll be a dog.
So that's what I had for round 7.
I love it. Adrian, we did it, man. Our first show with the knowledge. Right? Exactly. Dude, we actually nailed that. Our first show with the knowledge that we would be moving forward, waiting for the day McFadden announces his return. And that's okay. We're like I said, we're happy for him. Brian, we know you're listening. We know you're seething because we missed some obvious points and we didn't talk about Tyler Algier enough. I'm sorry. Next time, brother. We lost Anthony a while ago, so he had to go and be a professional Anthony. So good luck with that, Anthony. Adrian, any final thoughts as we wrap up our first show, as with me being the Big Mac and you being the partner in prime?
No, look, it felt good. It felt right. And there's no doubt. So I'm looking at the comment from Jonathan there.
Yeah, Jonathan, really quick. I'll come in. See you later, folks. Got to head out. But seriously, I've been recovering from major foot surgery, so I've been doing nothing but sitting around in my chair or cooking. So thanks a lot. All the content has really helped get my mind going. Dude, we're so happy to hear.
Yeah,
Jonathan, that's why we do it, man. We love being here for the people. We love being the water in the spring that is clean when you're parched in the desert and you're looking for the opportunity to be hydrated. We are the hydration for you. So we appreciate you for acknowledging that. Adrian, final thoughts.
Man, sometimes you just put words together, and I'm sure that Jonathan and everyone else watching can see me just crushing on you as you put this in. I'm like, oh man, that is just so well put.
I identify as a poet, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I love it. My final thoughts, I just wanted to go back to round one very quickly and talk Bijan, only because you mentioned Algier. So real quick, I'm just going to go through my footnotes here. Like I said, Arthur Smith there, he was orchestrated the 2,000-yard season for Derrick Henry. So now we know he puts a run operation together like no other.
Yeah.
Exhibited last year. So now you've got Brian's guy, Tyler Algier, who we all love. All right, ran for 1,000 last year. They've got Bijan Robinson, so they moved Cordarrelle Patterson out of there. And this guy, as far as team fit, I can think and we talked about them not being a Bijan away from Super Bowl. I do get that, but he's going to a scheme that favors running backs. With a running back who didn't need the scheme, he could deliver no matter where he went. I just feel like he's going to really showcase his talents here. And I really hope, because, remember when Saquon got taken? I know he got injured, but it was kind of like, okay, we know this guy's a beast, but he's still doing 1,000 yards because of the scheme that he's in.
Yeah.
I feel like in Arthur Smith's scheme, he's just going to kill it. So if I bring in Tannehill and they are going to be so hard to stop on the run, bring in Tannehill. That's all I'm saying. Just bring in Tannehill. Go get him. The Titans don't need him. He's too much.
I love where your head's at. You seem to think Tannehill fits the Falcons system like a glove, you might say.
I do. And it's not because I think Tannehill is elite. I think he fits, and I think a veteran QB with that offense, you only need competence. You don't need elite to deliver.
And that's why we saw Brock Purdy excel so much in Shanahan's system, because some systems, like you said, you only need competence. So we definitely saw a lot of that from, Tannehill in his time in Tennessee. We saw it from Purdy. Now we'll see if we can see it from Ritter. And if we don't, they got to get a new guy in there. Final thoughts from your boy. This was such a fun segment, and I'm looking forward to so many more fun segments every Monday and Friday moving forward. The time's going to be flexible. So Jonathan, Armand, everybody listening today, pay attention to our social medias, because we want to make sure that we continue to flood these live shows with as much listeners as possible, because it makes the show better for us. We enjoy so much being able to pivot off of something just so we can chat with everybody. It's so fun.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends to tell their friends, and then when they ask you if it's a pyramid scheme, just tell them just say don't worry about it.
Multi-level
right?
Jonathan, when you're getting your checkups for your foot surgery, just see who else is in there that needs something to listen to. Bring them over to us. That's all I'm saying.
That is what I'm talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is Kevin Phillip Fox and Adrian Revito signing out.